So let's first start off by reviewing what the project is supposed to be about and the things that will go into it. This first item, the submission format, is just kind of some basic information. You will be submitting this as a digital file folder. You need to have one parent folder with any documents, drawings, source files whatsoever saved in that one folder. You can have subfolders within it if you want to, but everything needs to be in one folder. In the midterm project, I got some projects that only had the ArcMap drawing, but the reference materials didn't come with it, so I couldn't see anything in there. You'll need to zip that up. So number one, that's how you're going to submit it. Second thing here, a description of the project. You're basically going to be creating a GIS system on any type of project of your choice. But the main thing here is that before you start gathering data, you need to determine what the purpose of the system will be, because that will help guide the rest of your work. I'll talk about this in more detail in the step-by-step workflow suggestion. Some examples that I have here are like a visual repository for control points established by your company across all projects. So this would be a system to help you find and locate control points. Another one maybe would be to help find and manage boundaries that you've done through prior surveys. Or you could just have survey job folder information in a visual searchable format. The one I'm doing an example on, and that would probably be pretty easy for anyone to do, is this site plan survey on a lot. And you'll see examples of that in my workflow videos. So what you'll need to make sure you do, and things you'll be graded on. The project is broken down into 3 parts. So we have spatial data. I want to make sure that you have at least one external source that's pre-generated by another organization that's non-raster. So everyone did an example of this for their midterm project. They went out and either pulled roads or benchmarks or county boundaries, things like that. That's what I'm looking for here. Anything that is created by some other entity and you download that. I do want one raster data piece. So you can generate this. A raster, remember, is just grid cells or pixels, so they could be JPEGs, PNG files, anything you can find that would be like a raster. So there's not specialized vector data that's just pixelated or gridded out. I will give an example of that in the workflow videos. And then you have to have one CAD generated item. So this is something that really has more specific or detailed geometry that is more easily done with CAD versus trying to use the drawing tools in ArcMap. The next thing is non-spatial data. So you will have one attribute table that is created and filled in by you. The suggestion I will make here is to create a Excel spreadsheet which you can bring into ArcMap and we can make some edits to. Also, whenever you start bringing in shape files, they'll come with pre-generated attribute tables, but it would be nice if you could edit a piece of that table. Another one is a link to a paper document. So, for example, my site plan survey that I will do in the workflow example, I have deed descriptions for each boundary, so I'm going to link a paper document for that, and I also have a photo of each property, like a side view, a street view. I'm going to link a photo to that. So you could have photos of vegetation if you are going to focus on a project that looks at trees. You could have photos of your control points or your monuments. There's really, the sky's the limit. There's no rule on what it has to be about. You just need to make sure you have this type of data. So that's non-spatial. The last thing here is focusing on your analysis and your metadata. So you need to document somewhere, and I show in my workflow example where I did, what question or what the purpose of the system is going to be. So I have a few different questions or queries that I would like to ask the system that I'm building. So you need to specifically point out what that is. You also need to state what coordinate system you're using in your project, and then also include a metadata document. So each of these share an equal third of the project. I'm not going to be super strict on this. I don't want you to freak out about what the project is. I just want you to try to take what we kind of were spoon-fed from the textbook and apply it in the real world in a surveying capacity to an extent. So really, if these things are present, that's what I'm grading on. Alright, well, I will explain kind of how to go about doing this project in the project workflow.